expressions. You just saw something that just changed the course of my talk. I have a device. It's a very simple device. Buttons, I press, they speak something. For somebody, it's just a toy. Or for somebody who is just learning to speak, maybe the parent gives to the kid to start with his beginning words. And for somebody, this is something that they use to communicate, to express for their whole life. You just saw how successful, how powerful you are to be able to communicate, and how somebody suffers when somebody is not able to communicate and surrounded by a range of emotions. This device. So as I said, for somebody it's a life support. I'll go through the device again, why I started introducing this. My 16 years of my professional career has been around entrepreneurship. I created, I think, 5 successful companies so far. And just how they introduced me, I am the co-founder and CTO of Culti. Fintech is very crazy. It's exhilarating, and the energy, the fame that you get, the deep you go, it's so big that you can pick anything and do anything and be anything. National scale, global scale, everywhere. Today, and for the last decade, fintech has been a very promising career, very promising thing to do. So that's how we started. I have always been one of the highest paid person in the team, and I have been contributing the most substantial component of the companies in my whole career. So that's again, my career journey as a professional has been one of its kind, and that's why maybe I'm here. So we just completed a big merger. Everybody knows one of its kind payment products. When we did the event, in a daytime, there were 1,000 participants in a big hall from all banks, all regulators, and even the chief guest stayed there for a whole event, which is quite unlikely. Why? Because the country was witnessing a big milestone to be celebrated when 2 homegrown companies joined hands together to become one big company. And that's when somebody said, probably I was the most famous CTO of the country. We usually do not talk about CTOs. Maybe that's why he said, probably I was the most famous CTO of the country. Because I was on the news everywhere. And these 4 years, the last 4 years, have been quite different. When I started my journey as the CTO of the company, I was in a very career prime. A good company recently got investment, and anything that you could ask for as a professional. We also got investments, license, everything. It was a very good time when I was joining that. And that's when the ethos got evolved in me. And that's when this device became something. So from here on, I won't be talking about Culti. So it was 7 years back, as everybody wished for, I had a blissful kid. And that's the most favorite photo of my collection. So, when on the fourth year he was born in COVID, and on the fourth year, when we celebrated the first birthday in public, we didn't celebrate it like any other birthdays. I spoke 83 minutes and 51 seconds on a presentation on his birthday. And there were 25 participants, and the birthday boy was not in the event. That was how we announced for the first time in front of friends and families that he has a birth condition and he was autistic. On that day, I went through different milestones on how we survived through the journey. So this is a very iconic photo of how autism looks like for a parent. Expressions. He spoke, I think, 1.5 years ago, after 5. And when he was not able to speak, when he was not able to express, this was how he used to react. And that was my body, and it was almost 40% of my body. Today, autism prevalence is very high. 1 in 31 is said by CDC, and just in the morning I was listening to news. In Australia it's 1 in 100, and in Nepal there are very undercounted numbers, but we as a community, we anticipate to be more than 6 lakh. And in different regions, based on the environmental exposure that they have, it's up to 6%. And even there are some myths that, again, the myths have been disproved, but recently we used to say by 20, 30 or 35, the next newborn would be autistic. Imagine the person that we are here, half would be autistic and half would be typical. Have you ever lived by, have you ever shared the bus ride or a common auditorium with a divergent kid, a divergent person? Start doing that. You'll know lots of things about expressions, lots of things about emotions, lots of things about perseverance, self-control. There was a guy in the theater act, he was wearing attitude, and he was representing something that nobody noticed it. I noticed, because I belong to the divergent spectrum, somewhat ADHD, I believe. So people, neurodivergent persons are very keen to details, but that keen interest is sometimes quite problematic when they want to communicate. So I showed you something how a parenting journey would look like, but then by God's grace he started speaking. Then our communication challenges, our parenting challenges got solved by 100 times. I have a video I would like to show, please. What are you doing, Michelle? What are you painting?
I'm painting the pool.
And why are you painting the pool? What is the pool used for?
It's for look.
Count to 2. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. That's done. So you just saw something. We were not sure whether we would reach this milestone or not. Today he is almost bilingual, and he has a very good accent. Everybody loves to talk to him. We even walked through the Matsudanath Jatra for 40 minutes in the mid of the Jatra. When somebody is not able to communicate, when somebody is not able to process their sensory needs, achieving something like that in a big crowd, and you are pressed by all the people and you just walk for the 40 minutes to reach the goal and touch the chariot. That was what I did one day. So, from somebody, slide please. So when somebody was not being able to communicate and was expressing the rays and needs by self-hurting or hurting somebody nearby, and somebody to reach to the stage where they can communicate gross motor skills, fine motor skills, bilingual, tops the class, it takes a lot to be there. And that's when I decided to be somebody. There's a very famous saying, I wondered why somebody didn't do something about it, and then I wondered, and then I realized I was somebody. So maybe that's when I decided we should do this. So I have a goal of changing the life of 108 families in the next 3 years. Families with autism and the kids with autism. 6 already done. I would say proudly. And from there, I'll continue doing it. So to do that, we established an institution where today we talk a lot about autism. We donate books, we gift them, we read by ourselves. We even participate any event happening around the country so that we become the voice, we become the part of the voice. And I was officially a member of the National Task Force to draft the Autism Guideline, the first of its kind by the Health Ministry itself. And I was the core member. This was the event when we handed over the National Guideline to the government. We create stories. So these are the stories that we're trying to create so that we can communicate to the kids and persons with learning disabilities through visuals and story cues. And that's the character that we have created officially. So that we want to narrate the story around heroism. And why heroism? Because people actually relate that quite easily, that's why. So we also participated, we organized a big event where we wanted to challenge tech developers and engineers to build something using AI for people with disability, and we sponsored that, where we got good ideas for autism, for speech language challenges, hearing impaired, visible impaired, and everybody. So that's how we are building the disability consciousness. And these are the things that I've been told by my friends, by the people that I have communicated, for those persons that I have changed the lives. I believe I have changed the lives. That was it was my friend who told me 3 days ago. He also told, I get inspired by looking at your post. And there was a person from, again I don't want to say the country, but he came to meet me because I was introduced by somebody, and he said, he never felt like that after talking with me for the last 2 years when he was meeting with therapists, centers, professionals, doctors, consultants, everybody. But he never felt so confident, so hopeful before meeting me. And one of my colleagues, he just said he feels less worried now. But when I was going there in a home visit. I often go for home visit. Anybody calls, I go there and try to see what can be done. So he said he never feels any more worried. And there was one from US. He came to meet me just because I was recommended. After I met you, I had a guilty feeling that I haven't done enough for my daughter. So these are the real walks that the parents say after they meet me. So for the last 4 years, my ego has evolved from being a fintech professional, a software engineer, to somebody who talks about autism, somebody who talks about diversity, somebody who talks about challenges in communication, expression, and needs. So child is the father of a man, and literally this has been, for me, my son has changed my whole course. Today I speak for the people with autism. Today I proudly say that I want to be the voice of people with autism and their stakeholders and caregivers. And I believe one day my son will be on this stage and say his own story and be the voice for those people who he represents. Thank you.